Hello everyone and good morning. It's getting on towards 11 o'clock in the morning. Wednesday, April the 3rd, 2024. We're cruising along basically about west-northwest, heading towards Barbados still, long passage. For quite a few days I didn't do any videos because conditions were much like this. For a period of time I was running the staysail and pulled off, or sheeted off the end of the main boom, and the trysail pulled off to windward or to port. Kind of a dead downwind rig. It worked okay. I had been using the Genoa and the Yankee, but it was to the south. It was much squallier weather-wise. We were often getting overpowered in the squalls, so I took that down, went to the smaller, more manageable sails that I could still fly in 25 to 30 knots without the boat being out of control. Anyway, it went on like that for a number of days. Let's see, Monday, April Fools, I guess. The weather decided to play a trick on us. And the sky was pretty much completely overcast. And the wind shifted around to the southwest, which I thought was a little peculiar. Anyway, set the Genoa at first, which was overpowering the boat, and eventually went down to the staysail on the headstay and the storm jib, kind of modified cutter rig, trying to maintain the course line of west-northwest to northwest with the southwest wind. And that was working out okay. But yesterday, as sundown approached, which you really couldn't see because it was so overcast, and the sky was full of nasty gray clouds, and from the southwest it looked even nastier. So sure enough, just about the time it's getting dark, the wind comes up, and I kind of figured with a southwest wind there must be a circular storm coming up the coast of Brazil. Well, my amateur weather forecast turned out to be true, because sure enough we had a 35 knot gale, more or less from the southwest, but as it passed between us and the Brazilian coast, which is over that way some number of hundreds of miles, the wind was just crazily shifting in direction. And I'll show you the track from the navigation software. We were going crazy. I was going crazy out there, trying to keep the boat going in some sensible direction with the wind almost constantly shifting for a while. And of course, accompanying that, it was pouring rain, which was kind of nice. It wasn't too cold. Earlier in the day we had rain, and both of us managed to get out in the rain and get a nice freshwater rinse off. Always a concern for duty because you got that long hair, and it takes a lot of water to really rinse it out. But in the pouring rain, she got it rinsed out 2 or 3 times yesterday. Anyway, that low pressure, I presume is what it was, eventually kept moving up to the north. And this morning we were just going along with the storm jib and the staysail, but it was pretty light going. There was still a big bunch of big nasty cloud bank off to the southwest, so I didn't do anything at sunrise. Waited for a couple hours, and the day turned out like this. Beautiful blue skies. So waning crescent moon. Past the last quarter, and the wind was still settling shifting around a bit, eventually wound up back in the southeast, more or less, which is what it's blowing now. I tried setting the double reef main for a while, but it just overpowers the boat. Too much weather helm. And I can't set the storm jib on the staysail stay because it's just like it's the lower portion of the Genoa. So we're not burning the bottom pane off, but we're still making 4.5 and 5 knots. And the sea state is pretty mild, so not bad sailing. Beautiful sunshiny day. Still got about 2,500 miles to go to Barbados. Coming up on the end of week 2. I'm going to stop this video here, and then I'll show you a little clip of that course, the track from last night. Just crazy. It's like a drunken sailor trying to, with no land legs yet, trying to walk down the sidewalk. Anyway, good old wind vane. Still steering the boat just fine. Auxiliary rudder down there. Still, well, the wind vane's steering the auxiliary rudder, and all's working together just fine. Anyway, I'll say goodbye for now. Stand by for that little clip. Well, here's that little clip from our track from yesterday. See, here's our noon position. And the wind is coming from the southwest, so we're more or less going due north. And up about here, the wind starts shifting. And you can see this crazy track. Trying to keep the boat going in some kind of sensible direction, with the wind just changing direction. Drive me crazy and doing all this weird stuff. Now you realize, of course, it's pitch black out because the moon doesn't, it's just waning crescent, and it doesn't come up till after midnight anyway. Solid overcast, often pouring rain for hours. And I'm trying to keep the boat going, running around out there in my rain suit. What a nightmare. Anyway, eventually that all stabilized out. We got the boat going again. And with that southwest wind. And then this morning, that wind pretty much went away and was replaced once again by the southeast trade winds. And that's what we're doing now. So, in a straight line, that's less than 40 miles since noon yesterday, and it's 11:30 in the morning now. But add all this other stuff in there, it's probably 70 or 80 miles. The fun of open ocean sailing. Hello, everybody. It's just about noon, local boat time, on the 6th of April, 2024. Kind of a glorious day for sailing. Genoa up. Sheeted there off the end of the boom. See that piece of white PVC tubing that's bending? That's my boom extender. It really helps to get the Genoa out there a little bit further. My Jenny's about 125%, and the boom, main boom, is about the same length as the base of the fore triangle. A little bit over, but not much. That's about 14 and a half feet altogether. My spinnaker pole is only 14 feet, and that really won't work to hold the clue of the Genoa out properly. And I don't have a longer pole, spinnaker pole. So this is the best arrangement that I've come up with, and I've used it on Phoenix, used it on this boat in various ways, different sails, different conditions. I got the storm trysail set to windward, and the pole works well with that. I got it tacked down a little bit away from the center line so it doesn't interfere with the hanks for the Genoa and the headstay. Anyway, the whole rig balances out pretty well. I'm sailing about a course of about 300 and carrying the apparent wind at 170 degrees on the starboard side, so I'm favoring the starboard tack a little bit. We just, today is Saturday. Yesterday we started our third week at sea, and much of the time conditions have been somewhat like this. Although we've been plagued somewhat with calms, not a lot, and with the occasional squall. I had one last night, had me scampering around. We were on a port tack, wind did a big shift, so I went around on the starboard tack with the staysail and the storm jib, no mainsail, couldn't handle the main, too much weather helm. And of course that eventually blew out, or blew past, and conditions went not super light, but light enough that we were doing less than 4 knots with just the staysail on the headstay and the storm jib on the staysail stay. But it was nighttime, and we've been surprised before with the occasional squall at night, so I didn't want to be overpowered in case of another squall line. Turned out to be a pretty calm night, didn't have any more squalls. So, I'm not doing a whole lot of videos on this passage because, as I said before, much of the time it's just like this. We're just bopping along, wind anywhere from maybe 10 to 20 knots. So we're making anywhere between 4 knots at the low end, 5.5 knots at the top end. Just hour after hour like this, cruising along. I guess it'd be nice to have a asymmetrical cruising spinnaker, but I sure don't have the money to buy one. And they are somewhat limited use, although they would be very handy under these conditions. So all things considered, everything's going along pretty well, except for that little glitch with the ignition switch where it's stuck in the on or the start position. Burned up the starter motor. Fortunately, I had a spare, and I changed that, put the new one on, and redid the engine wiring a little bit to clean that up in the engine room somewhat. So right now, the only thing, we really don't have to do anything on the boat. My starboard deck drain, something has gone down there. I think maybe a clothespin or something, and it's partially or sometimes fully blocking that deck drain, which right now is okay, but on a port tack sometimes the deck's awash and it doesn't drain off very well. So the trouble is the drain has a standard flush through hull fitting in the deck, and it goes pretty much straight down and a little bit aft. But there's a 90-degree elbow at the bottom, and it comes out right within what would be the boot strike. And the location inside the boat is not real convenient to access. That's my next project. After that, not too much. I mean, I got some video editing to do, and that's about it. I expect we'll be going another, I hesitate to say, but somewhere on the order of 3 more weeks. We've been just started the 3rd week. But, you know, conditions have been pretty variable ever since we left Cape Town. Sometimes very strong wind, sometimes no wind, wind shifting from direction. I mean, I've had it everything from the southwest backing around to almost due east, and almost every point in between. So it's a little annoying because I think I got everything set up. The boat's going along just fine, like now. And then something will come through and cause a wind shift of some kind. Sometimes as much as 90 degrees, so then I got to scrabble around and reset sails and wind vane and all kinds of other stuff. As you can see right now, the wind vane is being very lazy. It doesn't have to work much because the sails are pretty balanced. Just a little motion on the vane blade, a little motion on the auxiliary rudder. Not a whole lot. Doesn't take much when the sails are balanced on a downwind course. But all things considered, really beautiful day. Great sailing conditions. Not too horribly rolly, even though we're going dead downwind nearly. So just kind of kicking back, enjoying ourselves, watching TV shows and playing games on the tablets and the phones, and doing a little video editing and things like that. So for today, and foreseeably for the next number of days, I'll say goodbye now.